Let's talk about Biden. This is a especially hilarious one.
Yeah.
So from that speech that we showed you about Biden on Roe versus Wade, he pulled a Ron Burgundy and quite literally read things on the teleprompter, which you're not supposed to read. I'm not exaggerating. Let's take a listen.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or political power. That's another way of saying that you, the women of America, can determine the outcome of this issue.
End of quote. Repeat the line. Okay, very clear what's happening here. All right? And by the way, as two people who actually read off a teleprompter, you're like, I know exactly.
Listen,
I relate.
I've done it before. I relate.
Yeah.
I have. Anybody who's read off a teleprompter has been at war with these things at some point or another.
I get it. And listen, it's not as easy as it looks. Now, when you're the president, you do it a lot more than we do. And also, let it stand as a funny moment, just another indication of his doddering age, whatever. The White House is not going to let that stand. The White House has decided to lie to you and to the historical record that what you just saw with your own eyes did not happen. Put this up there on the screen. The White House is now doctoring the official transcript of that event, saying that Biden did not say, repeat the line. He said, quote, let me repeat the line. Now again, he did not say, let me repeat the line. You can hear it with your own ears and you can watch it with your eyes. There is no any time where he was about to say, let me repeat the line. And yet, the White House was so upset that they actually replied to the assistant press secretary to that clip on Twitter and said, no, he said, let me repeat the line, because that clip was going extraordinarily viral. At a current count, it has 42,000 retweets and over 15 million views, because everybody can see it. The guy pulled a Ron Burgundy. Maybe even joke about it. Be like, hey, he's Ron Burgundy. Or like, whatever, make a joke about San Diego. They're not capable of that. They are lying about what he said and then doctored the official White House transcript so that for all time, despite the video evidence of what we've seen in terms of what historians will use in order to record the Biden era, this actually might be a decent thing to point to, which is since we have video evidence, in the actual written record, they have, let me repeat the line. I also loved whenever he kept saying and or, because it's clear that whoever was editing it just didn't take out the and or and left it up to Biden. Maybe he likes that in his speeches. Who knows? But he's reading these things completely verbatim. So anyway, this is a humiliating incident, more for the White House than anyone, that they're so sensitive that they're literally trying to lie and cover up an obvious misread on the teleprompter to the American people. They're like, no, that's not what happened. That's not. This is Orwell. This actually is Orwellian.
I mean, their response made it so much worse.
Yeah, way worse.
Way worse. And it does, what it reveals is a real sensitivity to the critique of Biden's abilities and his mental fitness and his mental acuity and all of those things. So like, they couldn't just let it go, which would have been the way better thing to do here. I mean, again, listen, we've all had, anybody who's read off a teleprompter has had a battle with the teleprompter, has read it in a weird way, a sentence that comes out in a strange way, or you butcher a word or whatever. It happens all the time. But they are so sensitive to this critique that they had to actually do this like Orwellian weird cover-up thing and deny the reality that you can see and hear for yourselves. And I mean, there's also something to be said too about these are the people who are all like, oh, the war on facts and truth and all of that stuff. And then when they're a little uncomfortable with exactly how something comes out, they're like, oh, let me just go ahead and edit that transcript right quick and make sure it accords to what we are telling the public to believe actually happened in contradiction to their own experience of that moment.
What's also weird is that why this clip? There are a million, the 4th of July clip where he's like, what amazing about America? And you're like, what did you say? What? I mean, he trails off and embarrasses himself all the time. So why is this the one clip that you've decided to go on the attack for? But they did, and they're lying to you. They're completely lying to your face. And to this date, the White House transcript remains in the position of the administration as he said, let me repeat the line, despite clear evidence. This actually is a problem because I learned this when I was a White House correspondent. Those people are not political staff. They're supposed to be like White House archivists or whatever. They're like
Oh,
staffers.
that does the transcript?
Yeah, the people who do the transcript specifically for this reason. You're not supposed to be able to politically doctor a transcript. So somehow they were able to convince somebody who has human ears that they did not hear what they actually did and pressured them to say, let me repeat the line, not actually what happened. I also want to say, the transcript is actually supposed to be done by never looking at prepared remarks to prepare the most historically accurate transcript. Again, for history's posterity. Yeah, they're supposed to. I watched it happen. I used to know some of them because you kind of work with them when you're next to them as a White House correspondent. Again, these are career staff. They're supposed to be completely void of any political decision making. And at the time, they were having a very hard time with Trump because of the way he speaks.
Yeah.
You know, so not exactly the easiest guy to transcribe.
Yeah, I'm
and
sure that's true.
probably now same with Biden, but they somehow were still able to influence the historical record on this point. So that means they went out of their way in order to push things in this direction. Just a little behind the scenes info.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.